Today's episode of Beyond the Mask is presented by the insurance specialists at Bright Think Wealth Strategies. Find the disability insurance coverage that fits you best right now. Email Robert Smith at rsmithjr@financialguide.com. The show is also made possible by the team at CRNA Financial Planning. Get a free consultation today to be guided through the complexities of investing and financial planning. Just visit crnafinancialplanning.com. We'd also like to thank Helping Hands and OSA EMR for their support of the show. And don't forget, listening to our podcast can earn you Class B credits. For more information on how you can submit them, check out the CE Credit tab on our website, beyondthemaskpodcast.com. Welcome to Beyond the Mask, Innovation and Opportunities for CRNAs, with Jeremy Stanley and Sharon Pierce. We know you spend your day caring for your patient's best interests. On our show, we want to care for you. Join us as we leave the operating room and learn the latest in the CRNA industry. Beyond the Mask starts in 10, 9, 8, 7.
Welcome to Beyond the Mask. I'm Jeremy Stanley, and I've been working with CRNAs for over 23 years, and I'm married to one. And my co-host is
Sharon Pierce.
Sharon's a practicing CRNA for over 20 years, a past president of the AANA, the NCANA, and she's held many other leadership roles. As usual, our goal with every episode is to educate and enlighten CRNAs, and I think our topic today is definitely going to do that. And Sharon, what time is it?
It's time to wake up, Jeremy.
I think it is.
Well, hello, Sharon. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing good. You ready for this time of year?
I am ready.
Yeah. Do you eat turkey?
I do eat turkey.
Yeah.
Actually, when I lived in Lexington, we used to send our turkey over to the barbecue restaurants, and they would barbecue the turkey.
Oh, really?
Yeah, now I eat plain old turkey.
Did you have barbecue for Thanksgiving as well?
Yes, of course.
Huh.
Of course.
I guess in Lexington you have to do that, right?
Well, you do.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah.
But, normally it's a pig, but we eat a barbecue turkey.
True. Yeah.
We're just having plain old turkey. What about you?
So, no, we have turkey. I mean, we do it up Southern style.
There you go.
Do you know what that means?
No.
I know you had this look on your face. I'm like, how do you not know what Southern style is? So you put it in the big vat and you fry the thing.
You fry it.
Yeah,
well,
you fry the turkey.
I know about frying turkeys because if
Yeah.
you're on call, you're going to be called in because somebody
is going to get out there with a little more alcohol than they probably should have and throw the turkey in there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I guess we're going to talk a little bit today about what we're thankful for.
Yeah, we're going to take a little different angle on that because, we're thankful for a lot in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
But, our listeners, as we feel, should be thankful for AANA as well.
Absolutely.
And we have Angie Mund here with us today. Welcome, Angie.
Thank you. It's so nice to be back with you, Jeremy and Sharon.
So are you cooking a turkey?
Well, my family's coming from Minnesota, so they're all here, and we're doing a low country boil. They've never had that, so we're not doing a southern turkey, but we're definitely going southern.
Yeah.
Well, you'll have there'll be corn. I mean,
there you go.
there
We
you
gotta
go.
have corn.
So if there's corn in the boil. So
I don't know that it gets any more southern than a low country boil.
That's
though.
what I'm thinking.
I
It's their
mean,
first
that's-
time down for the holidays, so
nice.
we'll do it up Charleston, South Carolina, right?
There you go. Grits.
I hadn't thought that far, but
Yeah.
I might have to do the creamy grits.
Yeah.
That sounds good. So we're thankful for the AANA, and we're thankful that you're our AANA president, of course. So we
Yes.
wanted to let people listen today while they're cooking their Thanksgiving dinner and listen to our AANA president and tell us, well, for people who have not heard you before, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Angie?
Yeah, so I've been a CRNA since 1998. I was lucky that I went to school at the Minneapolis VA, hospital-based certificate program, had some really great mentors. And so I'll say maybe the first thing is I'm thankful for my education.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And all CRNAs really should be because it was really given us opportunities that you just wouldn't have without having that education training. So I'm incredibly thankful for that. And then I started in my health policy world by being the president, first region director, and then president of the Association of Veterans Affairs Nurse Anesthetists. And through that, I learned a lot about advocacy. And then really the big thing that I've done is starting working my way up through the ranks, first in the Minnesota Association of Nurse Anesthetists, and then South Carolina. And now I've worked my way up on the AANA board from region director from the fantastic Region 2 to AANA vice president and president-elect. And now I've been president since August.
Very
Yeah.
nice.
Wow. And you got lots of free time, right?
Oh, yeah, a lot of free time. I have a real job, too. So I am lucky to be a department chair, and I lead a really amazing group of faculty and staff.
So, you know, I obviously am thankful for the AANA. There's a quote by Sandy Ouellette that says that without the American Nurses Association, there would still be nurses. Without the American Association of Nurse Anesthetists, there would not be nurse anesthetists. So what would you have to say to that?
Well, anybody who knows Sandy knows that she's incredibly wise, and there's a lot of different quotes that have come from her. And she's an AANA past president and a North Carolina CRNA, and I'm thankful for her, too, when we talk about it, is what I would say as far as the AANA is they are the only organization that advocates for nurse anesthetists. And as we know that there are other professions that would prefer we didn't exist. They've put it in writing for years.
Since 1937.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, we do
There
know
you
that,
go.
don't we?
We absolutely know that. And the AANA protects our ability to have jobs and work and be successful and provide our family with the things that we want to give them to grow and be able to do things that they might not have been able to do without having the opportunity to work as a CRNA.
And Angie, you know, you said you took over in August. You know, obviously there are things that you would like to get done this year, and on your agenda, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, we're continuing with our strategic plan, which is important. We want to make sure that we're following through on our plans for the last couple years. And high on that is ensuring full practice authority in the VA. I have to say, and I believe the board would agree with me, is that's our number one. Number one thing is we want to ensure that veterans have access to care all the time, no matter where they're at, that they aren't having to wait, that they're missing out on preventative health care, and they should have a CRNA taking care of them.
And these are our warriors, the people who have fought for our freedom. Another reason we should be grateful today.
Absolutely.
And why would CRNAs, why do we need to do this outside of the reasons that you just expounded on?
Well, the VA is the largest healthcare organization in the country. And think of the advantages of CRNAs being able to practice to the full extent of their education and training in that largest healthcare system, because people look to the VA. And then the next thing you know is other organizations then will also allow CRNAs to practice to the full extent of their education and training, increasing access to care to everybody. We know that CRNAs are the primary provider of healthcare in the military, in our rural communities, and in our underserved communities. And the AANA ensures that we have staff in DC, that we have CRNAs that have the ability to go out and speak about what we do. And the AANA are the ones really supporting this movement forward and bringing the members with us.
Absolutely. You know, in my estimation, this is the hill we should die on. I think our opposition also think it's the hill to die on, too, for some of the very reasons. And it always fascinates me how you, being a veteran, can supply care in a combat area, but all of a sudden, whenever you come back home, what you could do yesterday, you can't do today. And some of that just seems to have no logic to it.
Yeah, it's interesting how, you know, CRNAs, and a lot of the CRNAs in the VA system are military, are former and retired military. That when they were deployed in far forward units, it was them, and they were in an austere environment. And then they come back to the U.S. and they have every bell and whistle you can think of, and consultants and ICUs, and we
working
can't.
cell phones.
Yeah, there you
computers.
go. Yeah.
You're not
Drugs,
in the tent.
you know,
That's exactly
supplies.
right. It's clean.
Yeah.
It's not in the
clean.
sand.
Yeah.
And yet we can't work independent in that environment. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, there's no logic to that situation there. I mean, you know, again, from my perspective, I know what it's about. We all know what it's about. It's just making sure this gets passed. And I've heard you talk before. I mean, there was a time that, we thought this would be passed, right, Angie? Yeah. And it kind of fell through. So it's back on the agenda again, and hopefully this will be the year.
Yeah, the original push really was regulatory right through the Department of Veterans Affairs, and now we recognize that there maybe needs to be, we know there needs to be a legislative push with it to encourage the VA to allow this to happen.
Well, the VA wanted it to happen.
And then we had, legislative pushback due to our physician anesthesiologist colleagues having a problem with it, because they recognized also that if CRNAs get that ability to demonstrate that they can take care of patients, independent of supervision by a physician, that other people are going to look at it too, and the impact of that could be considerable.
Well, tangentially to that, this is a kind of an extraneous question. Do you think it's given us some credibility as far as the pandemic, COVID? We were good enough during a pandemic. Does that help our case with the VA system, do you think?
Yeah, and I think it helps in two ways. It demonstrated our clinical abilities for sure, and we all knew that, especially when we have the ability to use our ICU training that we all had before we went to anesthesia school to go into ICUs and manage incredibly sick patients at a time when we really didn't know for sure how it should be managed.
Right.
But the other thing that I think really stands out, it should to the public and to legislators, is that CRNAs rushed in. They didn't fall back, and they didn't refuse to take care of patients. They really took it as a calling and raised their hands and rushed into a place that was dangerous because they knew that patients needed access to nurse anesthesia care.
Absolutely. So, the $10,000 question always whenever you're in leadership is communication. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your vision for communication with the members?
Again, I think this really is a question that is difficult to answer because communication is different to our members. Is we have CRNA members who have been members for 50 years and some more, and how they need communication is different than our millennials. And what we've really taken a look at in the AANA is how can we ensure that we are communicating in the right way at the right time for all of our members, because everyone is important. So we continue with our more traditional way of communicating through email, but we really have done some work with social media that I think is pretty exciting. We're starting to get out more on Instagram, and from when I've done our AANA updates, when we used to put email this or email, now we have QR codes and we have text-to-code so that we're reaching people that live on their phone and much less on a computer.
Well, everybody lives off their phone. You stand in front of a crowd and you're speaking, and
Absolutely.
You look out, and there are phones everywhere.
Yeah, and I mean, there's so much stimulus out there. I mean, Sarah, my wife, and I guess she is a millennial. Yeah, she is a millennial. I just thought about that. But, I'm serious. And this is no lie. She will not answer her phone. If you leave her a message, it is full. She will not return it. She will not check her emails. I said, Sarah, how are people going to get in touch with you if they need you? Well, they'll either call me and I'll answer, or they'll text me. And if they can't get me those two ways, then they don't need to get me.
Yeah, it's funny. My daughter's the same way, especially the phone thing. She's like, Mother, why are you calling me?
Just text
me. Because she's in that millennial generation too.
Yeah.
So that's a group we're trying to get. The other thing that really was in my vision for this year is that the members know that as a board, we are there for them as a board. This isn't just about the president of the AANA. To me, that is a big take-home message, and I hope everybody's reading the message that we send out every other week from the board. I think that's important. It shouldn't just be my vision for the AANA. It should be the board, and it should be what are the members looking for. To me, being part of a team, and we have an amazing team on our board. I hope everybody's recognizing that, of such incredible diverse talents, that bringing that group together, I think we hit all the boxes, and some on the board, which is key to making sure that the members get what they need.
Have you thought about what would happen if you weren't able to work for 2 or 3 years? On average, 25% of people will file a disability claim, and most of us aren't prepared for that loss of income. Every CRNA needs to protect their biggest asset, yourself, and your ability to earn with a disability insurance policy. We recommend contacting Robert Smith, a master disability insurance specialist with more than 30 years of experience and 1,800 CRNA clients, to find the coverage that fits you best. The best way to do that is to send him an email at rsmithjr@financialguide.com. That's rsmithjr@financialguide.com. Or call him at 504-394-6557.
Well, speaking about the texting, they've got a text, you can text a number. Do you remember what that number is off the top of your head? I don't. Yeah, that's all right. But there's a number you can text, and you'll automatically get text alerts.
Yep, you get the action alerts from the AANA.
Wow, that's pretty cool. And they'll read that.
Yeah.
I'll read that. I mean, even I'm guilty sometimes of not reading some of the emails that come through, just because by the time I expand it where I can see it on my phone,
That's
I have to keep going back and forth.
Well, and Angie said getting feedback from the membership. What kind of feedback have you received, and how are you guys going about doing that with the membership?
It's been interesting. Some of it is, I think, that every single time that a board member does an AANA update, our last question should be, what's concerning you? To me, that's how we should be ending every single AANA update.
Are you sure you want to ask that?
You
want to open that Pandora's box?
I have been in variety of leadership for a long time. I can take it.
Okay.
I can take it. And
She's military too.
That is true.
There you go.
She is a lethal weapon all on her own.
And as a mother, you get feedback sometimes too.
Oh, don't you?
Yeah.
Just a little bit. Yeah.
So I think it's the right thing to ask. The other thing that I've done, and I know Drew Riddle, we've had conversations too, is really engaging with the former presidents. And we've already met once, and we're going to continue to meet regularly with the former presidents to get feedback from them, so that, again, we get feedback from everybody no matter what stage of their career that they're at. And to me, I think that's been incredibly useful, so that when I had a former president, two of them actually, a couple months ago, came up to me and said they really liked the direction of where things are going this year. To me, that is one of the top compliments that I think we can get as a board, because former presidents can be pretty rough.
Yeah, absolutely.
What are you talking about?
Exactly. As I'm sitting across the table from a former president.
I'm not one of the ones that can make it pretty rough. I promise you that. But, I do know that the former presidents do appreciate that you have reached out to them. But I do think that you understand that sometimes history is important, and you get it straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak, because the things that you need to know sometimes are not in board meeting minutes.
Exactly right.
That's true.
The backstory is the real story, and how do you get that? By going and asking the people who were there. And so the past presidents have been very. We're not supposed to say past that. They think that it means that you're dead. The former presidents do appreciate.
Well, and I could see that being a double-edged sword as well. Because that president had their own ideas at that time about what was going on. They're really not in the know or in the seat that you're sitting in now, but they're trying to still wield some influence, and possibly the way that you're taking things might not be the way they wanted things. And then you're kind of in, I could see
now,
this,
but I'm going to give you a little pushback on that.
Yeah,
because
I can take it.
Being one of the former presidents and listen, I can't believe I'm in the room with these people sometimes, and listening to them, every single one of them will qualify what they say by, I know I don't have all the information. Because they've sat in that seat, and they know that they don't have all the information. But just let me tell you what my perception is looking at it right now.
Well, that's very supportive.
I don't have all the information. Well, all of us know that we don't have all the information. And Deb Geisler is our president, the president of the past presidents. And she, whenever we all meet too, and she will tell us, you have to know what your place is. And we're not here to run anything. We're here to be a resource, and we're here to give you history.
And I think the number one thing that our members want is advocacy, and they want to see wins.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that is the biggest thing that I hear from members. And an advantage of having a conversation with the former presidents who have dealt with advocacy is even on a global of these are the things that worked, and we know it's different, but this is some of the things to be watchful for. This is how we dealt with this back when we got reimbursement. That having a conversation with people that were there, I think is incredibly helpful as you move advocacy forward.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. And it's a way to talk about that it takes time to get the big wins.
Mm-hmm.
And the CRNAs back in the 80s to get direct reimbursement it wasn't that it happened overnight.
It took years.
It took years, and it was dedicated CRNAs giving of their time to ensure that this is a profession that still exists. Because if we would not have got reimbursement, we definitely would not be where we're at today.
Well, you said advocacy and wins.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now those are two big words. So let's paint a picture. Okay, we're going to play a what-if game, Angie.
Okay.
He loves this. I should have prepped you.
So what if we did get full practice authority? What if? What does that look like, and what do you think would come next? Again, we're playing the game, so.
What it looks like is that every CRNA has full practice authority in the VAs where they work. And it may mean different things depending on the VA that they're at. But what that does is it provides access to care for veterans. We know that there's problems with wait times. And Sharon mentioned I'm a veteran. My husband was a veteran. A lot of my friends are.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And it isn't just the professional piece, it's the personal piece of ensuring we take care of people. And then, so to me, that's what it looks like. And I don't even think it's a what if.
Yeah.
It's a when.
Yeah.
This will happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a what if. It will happen. We'd like it to happen sooner rather than later. So what it looks like is we get the opportunity to take care of patients the way that we've always wanted to take care of patients and are highly educated to be able to do it.
Yeah.
I think what happens after that is, and I'll put an educator hat on, is as soon as we're collecting data on the biggest healthcare system to show what we do provide, other organizations are going to look at that.
Oh, that's a very good point.
They're going to look at it and say, this is the model that we should be using here too, where everybody is giving anesthesia.
I love the ad, by the way, that you guys put together, and hope it can get pushed out even more. We'll have to put a link in our show notes, too, so that people can see that ad.
And I'll put a plug out there for our website. It's called veteransneedcarenow.org. Please visit it.
Mm-hmm.
Take a look at the testimonials that we have, the information that we have, and sign a letter. Share it with your family, because we do know that veterans need care now. And we're gonna know that it's going to be even bigger soon with the passage of the PACT Act, that increased access to VA healthcare to veterans who are exposed to burn pits over in Iraq and Afghanistan it's going to be an influx. And I'm not sure whether the VA is prepared for that is probably the best way to say it, whether they'll have the resources. And clearly CRNAs are there to meet that need. We'll raise our hand every single time to take care of veterans. We need the now part to happen now, because we will be seeing more patients coming in.
Beyond the Mask is made possible by the team at CRNA Financial Planning. With almost 2 decades of experience, the firm guides CRNAs through the complexities of investing and financial planning. Schedule a free consultation today by calling 855-304-3748 or go online to crnafinancialplanning.com.
What if? You've got another what if question there,
You
Jeremy?
know, I always have what
I
if
know,
questions.
I'm
I don't want to
waiting
put
on
Angie
you.
on the hot seat, though.
I know.
No, I'm just listening and thinking. Full practice authority, communication. I mean, you guys have a strategic plan. You've got it seems to have a really good board that you've been able to put together here. What else is on that agenda as we move forward here?
Yeah, it's three-pronged kind of approach. The advocacy piece, the member piece, is we do want to make sure the AANA doesn't exist without our members.
Right.
We just don't. We couldn't do the things that we want and need to do. Is how do we increase our membership numbers? What are the things that members want? What do they see as value of membership? So we're spending some time trying to figure that out, especially those 0 to 4 when they graduate.
Yeah.
And we continue to do outreach into nurse anesthesia programs, into states that have nurse anesthesia programs. So membership is a big piece. And the other piece is knowing that the AANA cannot provide resources to CRNAs if we are not a high reliability organization. So supporting our CEO, Bill Bruce, who we have been very impressed with over the last several months since he started. He has come in and done some amazing things. And we need to make sure that we have staff, and staff have the right tools. We've got the right people at the right time in the right place so that we can have an AANA that can serve the members well. So we continue to look at that piece also, which I think is really important.
Absolutely. Because without the members,
we don't
you don't exist.
It's a symbiotic relationship.
So let's talk about that for a minute too, because I think what I've heard is there 60-some thousand CRNAs or so.
Like 59,468 or something like that.
It's getting
pretty
close.
It's getting
Okay.
close.
It's getting very close.
All right. Now, we're not at 100%, obviously, membership. But what do you think, and this is a personal opinion, Angie, what do you think can make sure that we increase those numbers? Or the things that Angie thinks in her head right now that this is how we do it?
That song. This is how
we do it.
I think the biggest thing is we need to find out what they value and we need to deliver it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's powerful.
No, it is. I mean, I think that's spot on.
I agree.
And it's just finding that out.
Because I think sometimes we assume, well, they're of this age or they're in this job and this is what they need. And we haven't done, as in my opinion, as great of a job of going to the members and asking, what do you need? What would you value? What would make you be a member or quit being a member?
I don't know that we ever surveyed people who were not members. We have at one point. It's kind of hard to get that information because if you're not a member, we don't have your data.
Right.
The MBCRNA has all that data, and therein lies a little bit of a rub sometimes trying to get it. But if we could find out, but honestly, it's a member who finds out that your colleague at work is not a member.
Yeah. Angie, and I don't know. I mean, I know that when Sarah pays her dues, the AANA sends a little thing to the house, and she pays it from that. I mean, is there a way to capture from that when they pay their dues, that in order to pay their dues, they have to say, what do I want? I mean, is that something that could be asked or put into place there? And so at least you're getting some
good, a survey.
feedback.
Yeah.
Well, the reason it made me think about that is, the studies you always show about, how many CRNAs to the compensation and benefits, and inevitably 4,000 out of 60 answer, and 200 out of the state of North Carolina have 3,000. But if you could ask that when they're paying their dues, you might have a higher likelihood of them doing that at that moment because you've got their attention, they're writing the check, and at that point when they write the check, maybe they're saying, okay, well, I need value for this check. And I answer these questions to get that value. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there.
That's a good idea because they wouldn't be writing that check if they didn't see some value.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Exactly.
But
when you pay something, you want to know the value.
That's
you're getting.
exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly. And you want to know where it's going. I think that's the other part that we've talked about, some increased financial transparency of how we're spending money.
Right.
Especially because members want PR and they want advocacy, but I don't think they realize how expensive those two things are. That maybe if we had some ability of asking, what do you value? Why are you a member? Maybe that's even the way to, to phrase that. And then letting them know where their money's going.
Yeah.
Because I had a CRNA at the North Carolina AANA update, and I didn't even cross my mind to say it, and that was my mistake of how much money goes back to the state. Because I think Jimmy was right that not everybody understands that it isn't just funding the AANA, it's funding states in order, and that I think is more boots on the ground, and people feel that differently.
That is true.
That part is important. I'm going to take that back to our membership.
Look at
that. We'll call it the Jeremy Stanley question. We'll put a name on it.
Well, I'm always a big advocate of value and what you're getting for your money, and it just, as I've thought about this, I mean, you're not going to get your average CRNA to sit there and tell you exactly what they want. You're going to get a select few that are going to tell you what you're going to do and why you're not doing the right thing. But your average CRNA out there, they're not going to take the time to do it.
And they might not know. It might be the way I am about decorating. I know what I don't want. I don't necessarily know what I want.
Yeah, because that's a good point. That's a really good point. you know what you like and you don't like, but sometimes you just can't put a word in it, a word on it.
Exactly. But it is a good idea. Whenever you're writing your check, you're more
Yeah.
likely to give your opinion. Now, the pushback on that is we already know we've got them, right? But the data would be helpful to know, why do we have you?
Right. Or what do you want? I mean, that's the question, I think, is you want to know what these people, what's next? You know, you're paying us, it's not much money. I mean, I look at what you guys pay for your association dues compared to what I pay, and it's a whole lot cheaper.
What do you pay?
Mine, $1,600 a year.
Snap.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, I look at what you guys pay, and I'm like, wow, this is a steal. You know, for the advocacy that your organization has, comparison, I mean, you know, obviously our industry is highly regulated as well, but, I mean, it's a steal to me. And I look at it on a percentage basis of what CRNAs make, and you're talking about 0.3% or something. I mean, it's very low, but, you know, again, I think capturing what that actually
And you
means
have
to them.
have continuing education. You have to have all of this
Oh,
too,
yeah.
because the pushback from nurse anesthetists when you talk about a dues increase is, well, I have to pay to get my continuing education hours, which, by the way, 40 of those you can get by listening to podcasts. You only have to get 60 otherwise. So you've got 40 hours of free CE credit by listening to podcasts. So how many hours do you have to have, Jeremy?
Yeah, so it depends on which designation. I mean, it works out to be about 40 a year.
Wow.
So similar.
Yeah.
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 $1,600.
Wow.
But that doesn't include my CE.
No,
Yeah.
well,
I mean,
it doesn't
yeah.
include
Right.
hours
Right.
either. But the pushback that you get from CRNAs is, well, you're nickel and diming me, and now I got to pay for this, and now I have to pay for that. So,
But you know what, to me, and this is, again, just me talking, but that's part of being a professional. I mean, you know, you guys are a professional. I'm a professional. And attorneys are professionals. You know, that's just the way it works. You've got to pay to be a professional, and that's just understood. When they went to CRNA school, they had to pay to go to CRNA school, right?
Oh, they sure do.
Okay. I mean, it's the same thing when you get out. You've got to pay to keep up your CRNA, to keep up your lifestyle, to keep up the income, to keep up your family, to do the things that you want to do. And it's no different to me. But anyway, I'll get off my soapbox. So,
no, actually, it's
That
pretty
was pretty
good.
good. And the other thing I was going to say, too, is I think we need peer pressure. So if
Absolutely.
you're working somewhere and you have a colleague who's not paying their dues, they're getting the AANA benefits that you're paying for. Because the biggest benefits that you get from the AANA are advocacy and PR. That's where we're spending the money. So somebody else is benefiting by you paying your dues.
yeah.
Now, which state still has the lowest joining rate in the country? Used to be Florida.
I think it still might be. I have not looked at the data recently.
You know, whenever my classmate was president of Florida, Jerry Hogan, when they called the office asking for help, he would say, "Are you an AANA member?" And if they were not, "We can't help you."
Yeah, become a member and call me back.
Yeah, exactly. That's what he would tell them.
Wow.
And then I can help you.
You know, I wonder too, you know, a lot of employers were paying dues for a while. I remember that. I think a lot of that's been cut out now.
Yep, that's dropped quite a bit.
But, you know, I also wonder if that has been somewhat of a hindrance because they were used to the employer paying that, and then they kind of take that away. But again, then I look at it and go, CRNA, $600?
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
It's professional insurance. Just like you are
that's
smart to
good.
get malpractice insurance. This is professional
you know,
insurance.
I've never thought about it. That is
I
great, Angie. There's
like
another. You need to write
that.
that down.
That's
This is
right.
professional
It is.
You need to make a
insurance.
slide of that
Wow.
now.
Yeah, there you
This
go.
is your professional insurance.
That is very good.
I
We're
like it.
ensuring that you can get your paycheck.
Yep, that's
Tell
100%
you,
what it
turn it
is.
around.
I like it.
That you have
Yeah.
a job and can practice. And
All right. Wow.
Another reason why we're grateful. So, what can members do to help you and your board? What can we do?
You know, I think the biggest thing is honest, constructive feedback, because we can't read your minds. And if there's things that are concerning you, we need to know. And if there's something we can do about it, we will. If there isn't, we will do our best to figure out what we can do in those circumstances. So to me, getting good constructive feedback is important. And some of it, too, is you got to trust us. is every single one of us are CRNAs. We're all out there working. We would never purposely do anything bad for the AANA or for our members. Never, ever. Because we're members too. And I think that's an important thing to know is we're out there working hard for you. And,
Any
we want
decision
it to be
you
a team.
make is going to affect you. It's just like, you're president for a year, and whatever decision you make while you're president, the next year, you're subject to it when you make it, and you're going to be subject to it going forward.
Right. So, and
after that's
100%
so I've
right.
never quite understood that kind of uproar. I mean, of course, every president goes through that, even during my year, and the decisions I made were going to impact me
right
going forward.
Yeah.
So I kind of take some of that with a grain of salt, but you still have to cater to it.
Yeah, and have those considerations because you're held to a different standard as being a board member, as we should.
Absolutely.
Just like you would expect anybody that you are electing to act on your behalf. But we want to be a team with the members too. I think that's important. Is we don't want a lot of hierarchy. We want to hear what they want. We want feedback. What we're doing, good and bad. I think that's helpful, not just always the bad. But if we're doing something that you like, we want to hear that too, so that we continue to do that and act on your behalf.
Yeah. Well, Angie, anything you want to leave our listeners with as we kind of wrap this one up?
Yeah, since this is the Thanksgiving podcast, I just want to take an opportunity to, number one, thank the AANA for everything they've given me, thank the Minneapolis VA for my education, thank my incredible family, as we're all going to be sitting around the Thanksgiving table, and their support for all these years. My daughter, who I travel a lot, so I don't get to see her as much.
I know, but you take her with you sometimes. And she lives 6.9 miles from my daughter, Danielle.
Not 7, 6.9.
6.9 miles.
Yeah, it's interesting. My daughter's not a CRNA, but she sure thinks she is.
Oh, she's amazing.
Oh, she loves CRNAs.
Oh, we love her too.
Yeah, and then I guess also I want to make sure that everybody keeps our veterans in your thoughts and prayers, those that are deployed, those that are struggling back in the States. Say a little extra prayer for them today, too.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think we could have said it any better.
I don't think so.
All right, Angie, thank you, as always.
Yep. And we're grateful for you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Pleasure being here. And thank you, Sharon and Jeremy, for giving a platform like Beyond the Mask so that we can get the word out there and especially our new grads and our youngest, them having the ability to listen to what you two have done. I'm incredibly grateful for what you do for the AANA and for CRNAs.
Well, not only is it a platform for here in the United States, whenever we went to the IFNA meeting, we heard from CRNAs all over the world. And I mean, they don't call them CRNAs, but anesthetists all over the world. And our model is what they want to emulate. And they love listening to hear the battles, the stories, the historical series, what's going on, those things, because it helps them, which I found. I'm incredibly grateful for that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. And they listen to Sharon because she talks so slow that they can understand what she says.
I think you need to say something you're grateful for right now.
Yeah. It's your turn now, Jeremy.
You know what? I am truthfully grateful for both of you, actually. I mean, all that you've given back to this organization. And Sharon, I've known you for 20-some years now, and starting off as somebody who just attended the meeting, didn't know anybody, and we've developed a friendship throughout the years. And, now I'm married to a CRNA, and, I work with CRNAs every day, and I couldn't do that without you two. You are the reason that this organization exists because of the people like you two. And as Sandy said, you know what? You don't do it by yourself, do you?
That's the truth.
So
we all stand on shoulders of giants, and we all drink from wells that
somebody else dug.
That's right. All right. Sharon, I think it's a wrap.
Think so.
We want to thank our listeners for listening to Beyond the Mask with Jeremy Stanley and
Sharon Pierce.
if they like our show and want to help us grow. How can they help us, Sharon?
The best way to help us grow is to leave us a review, but make it
Positive. We know there's enough negativity in this
yes,
world.
there is. We're in the top 50 medical podcasts in the country, on the way to number
one. We're number one in the CRNA community, and we want to stay there. So if CRNAs out there have information or stuff they want to get out, please let us know. We'd love to hear about it.
Absolutely.
Until next time.
It's a wrap.
As a CRNA, you spend years preparing yourself for this career, so we don't want to see you lose out on any of the income you've worked so hard to earn. The best way to protect yourself and give you the confidence that a major life event won't disrupt your financial future is through disability insurance. We've known disability income specialist Robert Smith for many years and have seen the work he's done with nearly 2,000 CRNAs over multiple decades. He can help identify any gaps in your existing coverage and fill those gaps by finding the best value on a policy. Contact Robert and let him know you heard about him on our podcast. Send him an email at rsmithjr@financialguide.com. That's rsmithjr@financialguide.com. Or call him at 504-394-6557. Protect your greatest asset as a CRNA, yourself and your ability to earn a living by adding disability insurance to your financial plan. Today's show is brought to you by the folks at CRNA Financial Planning, an independent consulting firm that offers financial planning services exclusively to CRNAs and their families. From planning for a child's future college expenses to building a predictable income stream in retirement, the firm is committed to offering you comprehensive financial services, customized to fit your unique needs and objectives. If you have questions about your financial future, get them answered. Call the team at 855-304-3748. That's 855-304-3748. Or go online to crnafinancialplanning.com.
Hi, this is Jackie Rolls, President of the International Federation of Nurse Anesthetists and President and founder of Our Hearts, Your Hands, a global anesthesia support community that takes donations to allow nurse anesthetists in low and middle income countries to go to educational programs, buy equipment, or textbooks. Your donations are tax deductible, and we would appreciate your support.
OSA EMR is a free anesthesia EMR developed by CRNAs that you can download and use on an iPad. Our nonprofit mission is to make sure that solo and small practice CRNAs can digitally record their anesthetics. To learn more, visit osaemr.com to download and consider donating to our cause. Remember, for CRNAs, data is destiny.
Be sure to subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and anywhere you like to listen to shows. Also be sure to check out BeyondTheMaskPodcast.com. Each episode is posted there with a corresponding blog post, and we timestamp important parts of the episode to help you quickly get to the content you're looking for. Also check out the special series section on the site. You can follow along and catch up on the CRNA History Series, episodes specifically about political conversations in the industry. Or try the CRNA Personal Finance Series. It's all on BeyondTheMaskPodcast.com. And if you have a question for the show or want to be a guest or even suggest a particular topic, fill out the contact form on the site or send an email directly to us at info@BeyondTheMaskPodcast.com. And lastly, let's take the conversation social. Check out our Beyond the Mask podcast Facebook page and Facebook group.